everyone, welcome to the 2020 Make It Big conference. I'm your host, Beatrice Este with BigCommerce, and today I'm here with Nathan Lamb, Business Product Marketing Lead over at Facebook. Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining us here virtually today. To kick things off, I'd love to have you introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in e-commerce and digital marketing.
Yeah, thank you so much, and happy to be here. My name's Nathan. I'm a Business Product Marketing Lead at Facebook, managing and supporting our teams across commerce. And my first venture into digital commerce as well as marketing started with a variety of tech companies. Most notably in the marketplace space, I worked with Amazon, working on Amazon App Store. I've also been at Uber, working across marketplaces for rideshare, as well as Uber Eats, on-demand delivery for food. And most recently, working on commerce across Facebook as well as Instagram. So super excited to be here. It's not an unfamiliar space for me, but it's definitely an exciting one to kick off with.
All right, so I know there's a lot of different definitions and opinions out there, but Nathan, how would you define social commerce?
Yeah, I think with social commerce, everybody has their own definition of social commerce. The way that I like to break down social commerce is to think about the purest form. When you think about a customer back in the day, their experience is going into a store, discovering different products that they may like and may want to purchase, and having that interaction with the storekeeper and purchasing the good and bringing it back home. When I think about social commerce, obviously you start with the social platform, but it's all about recreating that experience that you would generally get with the storekeeper. And that's everything from the discovery phase all the way down to personalization and everything in terms of how you receive it. So at the end of the day, it's how you interact and maybe even benefiting and recreating that experience and even bringing in the additional goods that you might not have get from a personal experience going directly into a store.
So we know that social commerce has been on the rise for the past couple of years, but I think especially with the pandemic now that we've seen obviously more consumers at home and more consumers shopping online, really more than ever before, social commerce is definitely here to stay. So tell us a little bit about how social commerce is growing and how it maps into our current e-commerce landscape.
That's a really good question. I think we're in really unusual times as of today with COVID. COVID has definitely perpetuated the experience of social commerce and really perpetuate people to experience different things. I don't think we can go out there to purchase our goods as we generally would like to. If I wanted to buy a shirt or even go shopping, it's not something I can just go out and do. And I think social commerce has really given us that opportunity to experience that through digital platforms. So that has definitely accentuated growth. But the reason why I think that it's grown over over the years is that people are just, having higher expectations of how they interact and purchase goods. If you think about, I like to break it down into three parts. I think the first thing is discovery. With higher expectations, people want to discover the products in new and unique ways. As for me, when I purchase my next apparel or shirt or shoes or something like that, I generally discover it through social platforms, either through influencers that I follow that I obviously look up to. And that's how I get exposed to new products. And I think that's the new way of discovering goods and a very common way. A second thing is immediacy. If you think about how great technology has become today, there's a higher expectation of how we get the things that we want. How do we stay connected with the things we want? If you look at the rideshare space, when you push a button for a car, you expect it to be here in a couple of minutes, right? I think back in the day when you wanted a taxi to come pick you up, 30, 45 minutes, that was normal. That was really, really normal. And now it's like, wow, I have to wait 10 minutes for a car to arrive. That really creates the dynamic of increased expectations of services and how that's changed the world. So I would say immediacy has definitely played a big part of that. And secondly, when you think about it, I think about personalization. There's different products out there like Netflix, Spotify that really curate their content, whether it's a movie, a song, having you experience different things that they think that you might like. This is changing the way of commerce. This is changing the way businesses are telling their stories to their customers and really enhancing that experience. So combining all these experiences is what I would say is what's growing the ever-changing landscape of social commerce and really bringing that to the table. And customers are having higher expectations these days. So that's really perpetuating that as well.
Traditionally, brands have gone to social media to either facilitate their current customer community or to acquire new customers. How can brands today implement these social commerce capabilities that will really enable them to retain customers and acquire new ones?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think at the end of the day, customers are attracted to positive experiences. And so in a nutshell, businesses today, if you're not already using social platforms, I would say that social platforms should be more integrated as a strategy versus an afterthought, right? A lot of times, a lot of businesses will say, oh, I heard about social platforms, I heard about social media, let's just attach that to whatever we're doing today. And that's not the case. When you look at people who are really, really succeeding in their social presence, it's the people who are making it almost an extension of their right arm, right? And at the end of the day, you want it to be part of your story. You want to utilize it to deliver your story in a way that resonates with your customers. And I think that if you do it in that sense, you can really capture the success that really comes from social commerce and being able to resonate genuinely with your customers versus it feeling like it's more of an afterthought and something that's just planted in for the sake of being planted in. And to do that, there's definitely a lot of different features, a lot of different products out there to make that happen for you. It just really depends on how do you want to deliver your story? How do you want your story to be told? And I'm sure we can jump into that a little bit later on. But in a nutshell, that's what I would think.
We also know that many brands are actively trying to tap into younger demographics. We know that social media is a great avenue for this, especially social commerce. But is social commerce really limited to only younger generations? Can brands really get new customers from really all demographics using this channel?
Yeah, I think that's a misconception that it's only for the younger generations. I think that if your question is it easier for younger generations, in my opinion, I would definitely say probably, just because they're more adept to the new technology and surfaces and platforms that are out here today. But most certainly not. It's not only for the younger generations. I think we get this question a lot, actually, from the businesses we interact with, people who have never experienced social platforms. And the thing I would say is that in today's society and in today's landscape, there's no better time to explore social platforms as a channel that you might want to take and utilize to extend your presence across different customers and different demographics. So, younger generations might be already shopping here. And to capture that, you can definitely participate in these social platforms, right? But for the older generations and the people who may not be familiar, I think it's getting baked in even more. And it only takes a little bit more time, right? I think when you look at products like Uber, who 10 years ago, when it first kicked off, and I was part of that team, it was hard to really go out there and say, hey, this is you push a button, you get an app, and you get a car that arrives to you. That was a new experience that nobody ever thought of, right? That was something that was completely new. 10 years from now, and you look at where it is today, most of the people have heard of Uber, and it's not something that it's foreign to them. It's something that everybody in every generation has used. And I think that's the same as social commerce when you think about it as well. As soon as you get exposed to the difference in terms of the customers experiencing different products and features, it becomes a part of you. And same thing with businesses, as it becomes an extension of your arm, you can definitely utilize it to tap into different demographics, different people and ages of all sorts. And it's just another avenue for you to extend the reach of your brand.
Something I personally love about social commerce is the ability to show your products in a creative way that really naturally ties into your brand story. What are some creative ways we are seeing brands today really tie that story in when selling their products on social media?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I get this question a lot just because a lot of people are using products like Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. And the thing I would say is that, let's start with Instagram. There are different ways, and this actually resonates across all the different products. I would say that there's three things I would really hone in on. One is to align with culture. And second thing is align with creators. And the third thing is aligning with product launches. So let's talk a little bit more about aligning with culture. Aligning with culture means that taking advantage of different cultural moments that may resonate with your brand. So a really good example of this, of a brand that I've seen that has worked with us, is the NFL. Obviously during the Super Bowl, they had two opposing teams, and the NFL decided to provide gear for the winning team of this specific playoff, right? And so based off of that, they were really able to hone in on a cultural moment that a lot of people are tuning in on. There's obviously a variety of cultural moments across the calendar year. You just decide what your product resonates with. So if that's Christmas or Hanukkah, or if that's Halloween or Thanksgiving, and I know I'm only mentioning US holidays, but there's definitely holidays out there as well. I would definitely think about, does your product resonate with that specific cultural moment? And if there is, there might be something that you can do from a social platform to really ride the wave during that time, right? And to even leverage promotions or different things that your brand wants to focus on. That's what I would say for aligning with cultural moments. The second thing is aligning with creators. Now, creators are a really interesting aspect to social platforms, and especially social commerce. And I say that because I, for one, really listen to the different people that I follow. I really pay attention to what they're wearing, what they're interested in, and these are the people that resonate with me, right? And so if you have different people that you want to work with in terms of creators, and by creators, it could be influencers, it could be people that you think are good representations of your brand that you want to work with. These are also different ways to extend your reach of your product for them to market it out to a different audience that you might not be used to, or you might not follow and you might not reach, that they can. And it makes it even more real for you to purchase a product when you're able to see that. And so when I'm seeing, and I'm putting this completely out there, if you see LeBron James out there working on his moves across Nike, and you see him wearing the most recent pair of shorts, maybe that resonates with you. The last part about this is product launches. Now, you might be a retail business that is launching a new line for your product. Maybe it's a new apparel line. Maybe it's a new gadget that's being released. If there are certain features and product launches that you are essentially dropping, there might be a moment where you can align with how that is being deployed. And think about it strategically. Maybe it's releasing it just on Instagram, so it's exclusive because you have a really good following there. Maybe it's working with a different partner or a different business that you can do a collaboration with to do a drop, which is essentially releasing an item that is exclusive only for that time, for that period, or combining your brands together with other people. There's a variety of different things, and I would say this is one of them for you to be able to go out there and essentially accentuate your product and really to broaden it out by using your social platforms. And remember, all these different things are done socially within a product like Instagram, right? And so at the end, and you can do it with Facebook as well. And so no matter what the product is, I would say these are probably the 3 tips that I tell businesses mostly when they ask me, hey, how do I engage with a business through social platform? What are some creative ways to really tackle that? And this was probably the most effective.
I want to shift gears here a little bit and talk about Facebook and Instagram specifically. Of course, there are other social media platforms out there, but we know, especially for small and growing businesses, Facebook and Instagram are 2 of the biggest outlets. So what products within Facebook and Instagram are driving the most success right now?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so I would say that a lot of people would probably jump to our most recent products and say that that's the most successful. But what I would say is that the most successful products that we have today are really our bread and butter. So ads, of course, across both Facebook and Instagram have been the core of our business, right? And so no matter what you want to do in terms of targeted ads, we're creating different surfaces for ads. There's definitely a variety of different things that businesses can take advantage of in order to drive direct revenue or drive whatever call to action result ROI that they want. Ads is probably the most effective. Now that said, introductions of these products such as Instagram shopping, where you can do product tags across the different posts and then essentially also utilize checkout on Instagram, which is the native checkout app directly on your app without having to leave. That's another product that's been super successful. I would say products like Facebook Marketplace, bringing your product to life through an algorithm that automatically helps you sort out the products to the people that may like your product and resonated with it most with super low overhead. That's another product. And so across our suite of products, I would say that ads is probably the most successful and the one that is most universally used across different businesses, but also definitely 100% tap into the different products that we've just released because it's only going to go up from there.
And how can brands really drive growth for their business by integrating Facebook and Instagram with their BigCommerce store?
BigCommerce actually has a platform integration with Facebook Marketplace as well as with checkout on Instagram, which is great. We work very, very closely with BigCommerce, and we actually recommend you to onboard through these platforms if you're interested in the commerce aspect of Facebook Inc. And the reason why I say this is that if you're already working with a customer or a platform like BigCommerce, it's super easy to do the integration. You already use the dashboard. You're obviously familiar with the platform. All of your categories, as well as your inventory, is already on there. So integrating is super simple. You don't need to integrate and upload yourself individually. It ports right over, and you're already using a platform that you're familiar with. So you don't really have to relearn a lot of the things. The only thing you need to do is to, create your posts. If it's through Instagram on the Facebook Marketplace side, you actually don't have to do anything. You just need to make sure that your inventory is on there. And so when you think about ease of integration, already working with a platform that you trust, 100% go with a platform like BigCommerce that already has that relationship with you.
That's awesome. And what is it that makes the Facebook and BigCommerce relationship so unique?
Yeah, so BigCommerce is actually one of our premium partners that we work with. And to get up to a premium partner is very, very hard. But we love working with the BigCommerce team. They're super responsive and they're a great partner of ours. And we've done a lot of stuff together over the years. So by all means, again, if you're looking for an integration that works, that you can depend on, and a team that you can trust, it doesn't get any better than a premium partner on our side. So definitely recommend BigCommerce. But it's really just the relationship and the team that can really resonate in terms of the technology and integration to make it super easy for you to onboard.
And before we wrap up, I want to touch on the future of social commerce, specifically when it comes to the products within Facebook and Instagram and how they'll continue to drive growth for merchants. And tell me how BigCommerce also ties into this narrative.
Yeah, so let me break it up into two parts and I'll answer the first part first. Social commerce will continue to grow over time. If you look back a few years ago, you would never imagine that we would have Facebook Marketplace where it is today. You would never imagine Instagram shopping being as prominent as it is today. And most recently, Mark actually announced Facebook Shops as the digital storefront, right? That any business of any size can create their presence on Facebook. And so commerce is such a huge priority for the team. We're doing everything and anything in that space, and we're continuing to invest in that space. Most recently, actually, we just invested in live shopping. It's something that we're looking into, and it's also perpetuating into social commerce. So live shopping, if for those who might not know, there's a lot of people who go live, right? And to go live means you're streaming. Your presence is literally live on camera, where people can see the product that you're selling, or maybe get introduced to your product. And live selling is just the opportunity to purchase the good on the spot, on the go. And so I might be showcasing a pair of shoes, right, that I am essentially reviewing. And if you're interested in a shoe, you can actually purchase it on a spot while watching me stream. And that's something that we're experiencing in different markets, as well as exploring if that's something that will be successful in social commerce. So again, that's just one of the things that we're looking at and one of the things that we're experiencing. But to that note, we're continuing to look at different options and different things that could expand us into even further into the realm of social commerce. So I wouldn't sell it short. I would just wait, sit back and relax and see what we come up with next. But just this year alone, we made tons of strides announcing new products. So we're super excited to double click into those areas. Now, your second question was more along the lines of how does BigCommerce participate in this? And what I would say is that they've been really great partners to us, and they've continued to integrate with different products, everything from Facebook Marketplace all the way to Instagram. So I wouldn't be surprised when there's more announcements coming soon of different integration. I won't spoil any of the secrets just yet, but I would just say stay tuned and stay active, because there's definitely more to come.
And last but not least, for those tuning into this session, what are a few key takeaways you'd like them to walk away with? Yeah,
what I would say is that we're obviously in really unique times. As I mentioned, we're in a pandemic, and there's no better time to take bold bets than today, is what I would say to all the businesses that I've chatted with. Obviously, there is no brick and mortar store, buying and selling things in person is very limited at this time. And if you were to take any chances to access digital platforms to make your lives a little bit easier, or just to experience what that might meant, or maybe you were curious if this is the time to do it or not do it just because everything was going so great. I'm definitely with you in the notion of why break something if it's already working, right? But what if there was an opportunity to definitely expand into that realm and to make your business even more successful? And because we're in this pandemic, social platforms like Facebook as well as Instagram allow you to continue your business online digitally if you haven't already. Things like Facebook Shops allows you to have a digital storefront and portray and tell the story authentically in a way. So what I would say is make bold bets, do it as soon as you can in terms of that, and definitely explore, and don't be too shy. There's definitely a lot of content out there to help you along the way. There's definitely a lot of pros and tips that people have in terms of making successful, and accessing Facebook Marketplace, accessing things like Instagram shopping through partners like BigCommerce is definitely an opportunity to take advantage of that. And I would say that there is nothing to lose. When you look at products like Facebook Marketplace, there is no selling fee in terms of listing your products. Until you make a sale, right? Then we get into some of the different fees that are accomplished, but those fees are like selling fees that go into helping a buyer get to their buyer protection and stuff like that. But taking that bold bet and taking that first step is definitely my recommendation. And take a look at what BigCommerce has to offer in terms of how you can tap into products like Facebook as well as Instagram.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining us here virtually today, for being one of our great BigCommerce partners, and for helping us make it big.
Yeah, super excited. And thank you so much for having me.
That was a great session with Nathan Lamb, Business Product Marketing Lead at Facebook. Be sure to engage with us on social media using the hashtag MakeItBigConf and share what you've learned. If you're looking for more insights, be sure to tune into more Make It Big conference sessions by heading over to www.bigcommerce.com/makeitbig.